So she was fancy and he was in like shorts and tennis shoes or something, right?
Shoes and like I should have known the doorman, was in a suit. I was just like, this isn't good. And like
was it a theater?
It was a fancy theater, right?
It was in Charlotte. It was called the Epicenter, and apparently they give you like champagne and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, this is a fancy date night theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
Hi YouTube, welcome to the news scroll hole. We're going to be getting into the Watts family, Annihilation, Shan'nan Watts, who is pregnant with her son Nico, and her two young daughters, Bella, 4, and Celeste, who just turned 3. And the husband, who pled guilty to murdering them and taking them out to an oil field, dumping Shan'nan's body in a shallow grave, and taking the beautiful young daughters and shoving them into tar batteries, which are these huge containers filled with crude oil, as he was working for a company called
Anadarko Petroleum.
How the Mistress is connected to the murderer, or he pled guilty, he took a plea. How the Mistress is connected to his family, how the connections aren't adding up, how the police considered her a witness, quote unquote, when there's red flags going everywhere. Why didn't they investigate her? And now there's a plot to go to trial, to take Chris Watts' confession to trial and try and free him. So let's break down some more red flags. This channel broke the news of Shannan's live catching Nichol Kessinger, the Mistress, in North Carolina prior to the murders, where there was an attempt on Shannan's life, and also the youngest daughter, Celeste, or Cece, in North Carolina, where they originally hailed from. Where they were living was Colorado, in Frederick, Colorado, and the Mistress, her daddy, is connected. His wife was Chris Watts' boss. And how the Mistress stalked Shan'nan for years prior and knows the Watts family. I believe they're all working together in this theory. It's all adding up. How did they meet? Are Nichol Kessinger and her sister or her best friend friends with Jamie Watts and Cindy Watts and Ronnie Watts? Was she there in North Carolina? Shannan's lives don't lie. Here are side-by-sides of the Mistress Nichol Kessinger in her law enforcement interview, next to the mysterious doppelganger coming off the plane right next to Chris Watts. You tell me. Anyone saying they debunked Shannan's Facebook live videos, not one coming off the plane, but 2 on the beach, is doing it for clout, unless they have a trusted degree in forensic photography and filmography, and they've been thoroughly vetted. They are a whole lie. Shannan's Facebook Lives debunks everybody's lies. Let's get into it. Retired police lieutenant and book author James Filippello says, "Sure, there's always the possibility of a coincidence. The problem sometimes is that it's not a coincidence. If you run the tag numbers of a suspicious car and it comes back to someone you know, it could just be a coincidence. But if the suspicious tag number comes back to a girl your husband is having an affair with, well, that's a little harder to sell as a random suspicious car." Not just one random coincidence. It could be you had a motive to commit the crime, and by coincidence, you were seen leaving the area the night of the crime. That would require a closer look. If I'm presenting a case to an interviewee, I give them a lot of what I know to build the case in their head that they are caught. It may be 5 different elements, any one of which could be a coincidence, but when put all together, they make a compelling case. 1 coincidence, I make a note. 2 coincidences, I start digging. If I hit a dead end, so be it. But if I hit coincidences 3, 4, 5, then it's time to sit down and have a chat. My rule of coincidences: things are not always as they seem, but about 90% of the time, they are exactly as they seem. The simplest explanation, more often than not, proves to be the truth.
Please go try to fit, and I mean, and that might even be in the text too, where it's like, don't say those words to me, and then go try to make peace with your wife. Go try to make peace with your wife.
Your wife.
And lay in bed with another woman. Like, just don't do that. And I was like, it's not that I don't appreciate what you're saying to me. It's like, it just didn't sit right for me, So I just feel like...
Almost like an insecurity where you had to say that to you? Or?
I don't know. I think he looking back at all this now, I don't think he was trying to fix things with her. So saying, I love you to me seemed like probably something that he genuinely meant. Like, I love this woman. And regardless of where he was going to end up that night. And regardless of where he was going to end up that night. And regardless of where he was going to end up that night. And regardless of where he was going to end up that night. And regardless of where he was going to end up that night. And regardless of where he was going to end up that night.
Decoding body language, 9 clear signs that someone is a lion. Be attuned to tone. Tone of voice is one of the best indicators of deception. A strong, convincing tone often indicates deception, while a softer, conveying tone can mean someone is telling a partial truth and not the whole story. Big talkers. People who are most effusive in their denials or other untrue statements are among the most likely to be guilty. The ones who are working really hard at looking like the good guy are the people we have to be wary of.
And regardless of where he was going to end up that night. And regardless of where he was going to end up that night. But to me, in the way that I was perceiving things, he had told me that he was trying to fix things with her. So it's just like, this is an inappropriate time, and I wasn't mad at him, and I'm pretty sure. And then one day he told me that he had 2 kids. I thought it was kind of cute. I was like, oh, he's a dad.
Nichol Kessinger speaking on when Chris Watts was in North Carolina with her, apparently. And I guess she was mad about where he was going to sleep that night. Would he sleep in a hotel or at the Wattses with her or with Shan'nan? You be the judge.
Tell me about it. I've been trying to get a washing machine sent from the city, and there is a 4-week wait list.
We all know about your new appliances, Rachel. Your new car, etc. We're not here to talk about your fancy ways.
We're not here to talk about your fancy ways.
What is that supposed to mean?
It means she's calling you a bitch.
Hi. It's me. I miss your face. I was just calling to say hi. Call me back. Bye.